beginning, there was me, Dr. Roger Gewell, with The Gospel According to Dr. Roger, the show where you get the unvarnished truth about everything really going on, the story behind the stories that are in the news today, the real truth about the big personalities that we see making noise out there. And it's the same with my guests. No messing about, no covering up, no obfuscation, no gaslighting. There aren't many programs, if any, where you really get the truth as hard as we give it here. But we want you to know what's going on. I'm still on the theme of jobs and education, and particularly fascinated with young people. It's just amazing. There were no young people like the young people that we are having on this show, like Ellie Hodges, who's going to be joining me quite a lot, who we had a week or so ago again, like Kendele Harper-Raze, who we have today as our guest. I mean, how did these people who are 16 and 17 years old going on 40 develop the maturity and the judgment and the knowledge that they have? It's incredible. It's something in the water. I'm not sure what it is, but it's really great. So we are going to be talking to Kendele, who's another aspiring journal politician. Lord knows what she'll end up as. But it really is extraordinary. These I'm not going to say kids because that's derogatory in a sense. These people, they just absolutely fascinate me, and I'm sure they're fascinating you. We're going to have a lot more of them, and we're going to start debates between older people and younger people about the state of the world and what should be done. And that's really going to be fascinating. It's going to be called Mind the Gap. And we'll be introducing it probably Friday week. That's not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. So keep your eyes open for Mind the Gap. And now I'm going to bring Kendele. That's Kendele with an E on the end, Kendele, Kendele, Kendele Harper-Raze, R-A-Z-E. I'm going to bring her to join us, and you will be amazed, I promise you. And here she is. Here's Kendele Harper-Raze. Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and how old are you?
17.
Yeah, and how you first got involved in politics at 17. I mean, I was watching you with my friend David Bull. You've even been a guest on Talk as part of their future politics panel. I'm wondering what that experience was like. So tell us two things. Tell us how you got into all this at 17 and why you waited so long. And what was it like being on television talking about future politics?
Actually started getting involved in politics when I was 15. That's when I first started my interest. It was just always on the TV when I come home from school, and I'd go in and watch it, and I'd start forming my own opinions. And there was something on the TV about a woman claiming that she was a man, and I thought, what type of lunacy is this? This cannot surely be happening. So I started looking into more things, and I started seeing the more how woke this generation has gotten, and I thought this isn't right. We need to go back to a bit of common sense. So um I started with that, and I ran for youth parliament in 2023 where I came third. And
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Tell us a bit about that. You what? You ran for parliament and came third. Tell us.
I ran for youth parliament. It was basically in our area, well, the surrounding areas, and
Which
we
is
all
which
had
is which
to.
is where?
It was like Teesside, Durham, and Cleveland type of place. So we had to go to these meetings and put out personal statements, and then those posters put up around loads of schools with our statements on. I had to run my own little campaign by talking to people, trying to get them to vote for me, going in classrooms and things. And I ended up receiving the third most amount of votes, which was I was happy with. I thought it was a good achievement. And yeah, I thought it was a good thing to do, and it was a good experience as well. And being on Talk TV at like such a young age, obviously it was very nerve-wracking going on because it was my first time ever doing anything like that. But just being there and having the cameras on you while you're trying to talk, it was just like it was all a bit crazy. But for the most part, it was a brilliant experience, and I'm really really glad I did it.
And so you really threw yourself into all of this. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. From age 15. Wow, there aren't many people that do that. I mean, do you align with any political party at this time?
Yeah, so I mostly align myself with Reform UK. So I'm still a member. Obviously, I have my disagreements. No party can be perfect, but you've got to choose the one which you think is going to be the best for this country. And I do think Reform are the best. I think they're the only party that give me some sort of hope because the way this country is going, I do not want my future kids living in this country. I don't think it's a safe environment. I think Reform are the only ones that are going to stand up and say we need to get our country back.
So, what are the issues that you're most passionate about?
Well, the first issue,
There's there's
obviously,
there's the there's the wokeism.
yeah, of course, and you've got, the biggest issue is putting Britain first. I think the British citizens need to be put first in every scenario. I think we're kind of put on the back bench a little bit for everybody else, and I think that's completely wrong. Um, Another thing I'm big on, obviously, before the Supreme Court ruling came in, was the changing of gender and forcing people to call people by the preferred pronouns. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous, and um, and I thought that there is no way that this, like in this big age that we're in, it's like we're struggling on what a woman is. I thought it's absurd.
Anything else?
Um, I think obviously mass immigration is also a big problem. Um, I think the amount of people that are coming here, illegally and legally, I think we need to kind of put our foot down and say we can't take everybody, It's like you're coming in, you're committing a crime anyway by coming illegally. Then you're also given housing, you're given all
Yeah,
these benefits. Why aren't we getting them?
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all very much mainstream points about which many millions of people are passionate, right? Now,
Mhm.
uh, you bunked off college this morning to be with us, and you're right in the middle of the education system. And if there is a woke narrative that's being pushed anywhere, it's right there. Have you ever experienced criticism or discrimination or pushback or pile-ons because of your political views from your fellow students, many of whom, not only don't think like you, they just don't think.
Mhm. There's been a lot of pushbacks, especially in my secondary school, but it wasn't from students, it was from teachers.
Well, really? Tell us.
So I was in an English lesson and we had a teacher as a substitute, and basically she said if I don't call her by her preferred pronouns, I wasn't allowed to go to the
What
toilet.
what what was her preferred pronoun? It?
So she was clearly a woman. She wanted to be called him. I wasn't comfortable doing that. I'm not going to
Whoa,
lie to her.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait. Don't go so fast. So this is not even a teacher. This is a sub. This is a substitute teacher who
Mhm,
comes into a class and admonishes you for not calling her, clearly a female, him.
mhm.
Okay.
And I was denied access to the toilet. Obviously, I'm not going to lie to somebody. Obviously, I'm quite vocal on this issue myself. So I was denied access to the toilet, and my one of my parents were called in for a meeting with the head teacher of the school.
Wait. You're running a little fast for this. What do you mean by you were denied access to the toilet? You mean to the women's loo? Or
Yeah, so she said if I didn't call her him, that I wasn't allowed to go to the toilet. Like she fully ignored me because I wasn't acknowledging her as a man.
But by what right did she claim to exclude a young girl from the female toilet in her school when she wasn't even part of that school but for a day or two as a substitute?
She had no right to do that, and it was disgusting.
Did you report her?
She actually reported me for being transphobic.
Transformist,
Transphobic.
a transphobic, right?
Yeah.
And what happened?
My parents were called in for a meeting with the head teacher. I was
Yeah.
taken out of my lessons because I'd made offensive comments to a teacher. I wasn't allowed back in my mainstream lessons, and I was branded disrespectful by my head teacher. Apparently, I don't buy into the school's rules, because I didn't call this female, am I?
My goodness. And what happened finally in the end?
So there was a little bit after that. So we actually had to put in a formal complaint because the teacher in question, who I quote unquote misgendered, was calling me transphobic to other students
Right.
in front of two of which were my friends. She was basically saying that I was one of the most transphobic people in the school and I should be kicked out. Um, Obviously, that was unacceptable. She shouldn't have been talking about me while other kids were there, and
Right.
especially two other kids. So we put in a formal complaint, and the most I got was an apology.
So she apologized to you.
Well, someone apologized on her behalf. She didn't
Right.
apologize to me.
And she's not there anymore.
I'm not sure if she's there because obviously I've left secondary school now.
Right. I mean, that's a terrifying story. Did you talk about that on television?
That the topic didn't really come up. I've talked about it a lot on my ex account, but I tried to vocalize it as much as I can. I try to take it to different people in emails and stuff when it happened, but
And
didn't really get much response.
did any press or media pick up the story?
No, nobody'd seen it when we sent it.
My goodness. I mean, it sounds, I mean, I'm not an expert, but it sounds to me like she went far beyond her rights in saying that you couldn't go and relieve yourself in a toilet uh, just because she didn't like that you had misgendered her as she saw it. That's an amazing story. I want to think about that and talk about that with our producer and whether we have you back to get into this on more scale. That's really quite something. That's an
Mhm.
amazing story. So you've written this up, have you?
Yeah.
Maybe you'd send that to me. Send up everything you've written on it so we can look at it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the answer to my question, have you ever been discriminated or had pushback? Yeah, big time. I mean, that's an amazing thing. Any other examples?
Well, in that same school, there was a teacher who was a very vocal Labour supporter, and when she found out that I disopposed, like dislike, didn't agree with her, because she'd basically say her beliefs in the classroom, and me being me, I'm very vocal anyway, so I'd put my hand up and I'd disagree with her. She'd literally just put her hand up and tell me to stop talking after she'd give her opinion. Like I couldn't debate with her.
Right. Wow. So how did all that make you feel?
It obviously makes me really angry because why do people get favoritized and why people are allowed to do things and I'm put on the back burner of it when I'm the child in the situation? Like I felt like the mature adult in the situation. Like I felt like I was dealing with the child.
Hello, you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I promise you, you were, of course. It's completely unreasonable that somebody can tell you you can't go to the bathroom, and completely unreasonable to insist that you're transphobic simply because you don't respect someone's pronouns. At most, it's a disagreement, but they have
Hmm.
no legal right to punish you. There's
Hmm.
no, if they want to report you and take you to court or report you for a non-crime hate incident, that's up to them. But they certainly can't say you have to make it on the floor here in the corridor because I'm going to show you you can't call me her.
Yeah.
That's just over the top. Um, so you tend to hang around people such as yourself who are, politically astute and engaged, or do you have all kinds of friends?
Well, my close friends,
Yeah,
all mostly every single one of them, if not all, are politically involved, that have opinions on anything, really. Most of them don't
Sorry,
agree.
most of them, I didn't catch that. Most of them do not.
Though they do have
Do have,
opinions.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, a lot of them don't agree with me on most things. Obviously, there's one or two that do share my views, but the others are typically more left-leaning.
Okay. And how does that all work between you with you still being friends?
It doesn't really affect any friendship because obviously this is what democracy is about. Everyone has different opinions. You'll be able to talk about these things, and we do have debates sometimes. Sometimes they can get really heated. Sometimes they don't. Um, but at the end of the day, when we debate on things, as soon as the debate's done, it's back to us being friends. Like it doesn't change anything. We just like to have a discussion.
Isn't that wonderful? Wouldn't it be wonderful if that's how it was for everybody?
I know.
Wouldn't that be great? How can you, Kendall, work to make that way for everybody if you become a politician or a journalist or a person of some influence?
I think it's not even about left and right, like the divide anymore. I just think that people are being fed such misinformation and they're being brainwashed. And and typically the left wing, some people on the right do it as well, but typically people on the left who have kind of a woke mindset, if you don't agree with them or something's controversial to them, they'll be like, "You're disgusting, I can't talk to you." Like, obviously, I've experienced that myself, so. I think in a way to stop it, I think everyone just has to realize that people are going to have different opinions. People aren't going to agree on everything. What would be the fun in anything if everybody agreed?
Absolutely. It's so boring, it would be unbelievable. Yeah. So what are your career aspirations if you have them at this young age?
At the moment, I'm looking towards trying to run as a councillor for my local area because I think that would be a really, really good first step into trying to get into somewhere like politics. Obviously, I
Sure.
studied politics at college.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously when I come out of college, I'll be looking for a job and then to run as a councillor on top of that, and hopefully in the future trying to become an MP.
So
But that's a
politics,
long, yeah,
basically.
yeah,
You want to be a politician.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Um, I suppose you're not a fan very much of this current government. Tell me what you think has gone wrong during their time in power so far.
So with the Labour government, I don't think they actually won the election. I just think the Conservatives lost. Keir Starmer only got 9 million votes, and that's the
Yeah,
population of London. So
yeah,
um, I think he's done a lot of things wrong since he got in power and his whole cabinet. And I think one of the big things for me was the winter fuel payment be taken off the pensioners because
yeah,
he used that as an excuse of he always uses the excuse the 22 billion black hole that the Tories have left. Yeah, he's sending all this money overseas, but then he's doing it at
yeah,
the detriment of
yeah.
our pensioners.
It,
One who is
it,
my nana, who is disabled and cannot
yeah,
heat her home now because of Keir
yeah.
Starmer. So that to me is very personal.
If I was going to say if there was any black hole, I seriously doubt it.
Mhm. No, I don't think so.
No, I mean the Tories pulled the same thing. They declared there was a $55 billion a pound black hole, which there wasn't.
No.
Yeah, okay. Um, what about reform then? I mean, their local election results were a massive success, as you're implying. Do you think that'll continue? Do you think they could be in power by 2029?
I think Reform have done something spectacular. I think you've never seen a small party grow so fast. And before the local elections, if someone asked me if they would be in power by 2029, I probably would have said no. But looking at these local elections now, it does show how much people are sick of this current government. And I think that the momentum that Reform have, I think that's going to go a long way. And I do think that if the Labour government keeps stabbing people in the back, stabbing British people in the back, that Reform will 100% be in government by 2029. The Tories are destroyed, then I don't think they're going to be able to make a comeback.
Toast.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, Kendall, listen, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Uh,
Thank you for
uh,
having me.
it was great to have you. And I'm just trying to I'm just trying to change the view here. There we go. It was great having you, and we will definitely have you back again. You're absolutely fascinating,
Thank you.
and wish you all the best. Hey,
Thank you.
definitely
You too.
definitely wish you all the best. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Well, that was amazing. I promised you, she was something. These young people are just, I'm so fascinated. I could have them on all day long. I mean, where does that kind of maturity and energy come from? It's amazing. Well, the energy I can understand, but wasn't she fantastic? And what a story about a teacher telling her she can't, what is she supposed to do? Pee in her knickers? I mean, what kind of sick people are these? I think we're going to try to find out, delve more about that story and check the other side, see if the teachers will speak to us and get a debate going about that. I think I'd like to, I'm going to ask Ellie if she can organize a debate between Kendall and that particular substitute teacher on Mind the Gap. Let's get a real fiery debate going on that, don't you think? So, thank you for joining me and my guest, Kendele Harper-Raze, again. It's been great. And we will see you again next time. Have a wonderful day.